Alrighty, what we have here is a Pierce 2006 custom pumper. It's a contender, excuse me, it's an enforcer. And what I'm wanting to deal with today is windshield wipers. All right, now one of the symptoms of bad linkage is when you don't have it engaged to do windshield wipers and you can move the windshield wipers. Generally the problem is the shorter linkage arm in the underneath the cap. Now right up underneath here where my fingers are is where the motor and the drive unit is, except it's on the inside. To get there is kind of a difficult thing. Just have to be observant to what you do. You have to pull the dash, basically speaking, and that's what I want to show you today in bits and pieces. So I'll start on it and piece this film together as we go. Thank you. So in front of you, this is the linkage arm we're looking for. Ultimately, that is what's gone bad on this. Now, there may be different configurations for your Pierce, so I'm only dealing with this one. I believe any of the custom pumpers has basically the same configuration as to the windshield wiper linkage. Okay, to gain access to this, well, first off, let me say, don't leave this truck in service and expect to have it done in 5 minutes. That's for sure. This is what the area we're going into. Dash is pulled just to show you where we're going. Down here where the light is, against the header wall down there, is a windshield wiper motor. Oh, I can most certainly show you easily without the camera, but we're trying to get to this area way back up in here, and we can't get it from this angle. They have ductwork for the air conditioning that goes right across there. That's what that black piece is. Sounds simple enough to pull it out of there? No, I don't think so. It's one piece that runs across there. Now, if there's an easier way to do this, I would love to know it, but we're gonna fight through this. I just want to caution you, don't leave the truck in service. And there's a mess of wires here. So get your thinking caps on and make sure you observe everything you're doing. But I'm not one for precautions. You got to learn it yourself. All right, in exploiting this, I've taken on this 06, this is your windshield wiper switches down here. All right, you got your dashboard. Now, in routing out, here, let me turn this on. In routing out all the wires here, here's what I found down here. I've done this job before, it's just I forget. It's a painful thing. You don't like to carry your memories with you. You've got a couple air lines that go into your air gauges, they're live pressure, and then you've got these two large connectors, and I think that'll get the instrument cluster out of the way on this particular model. But like I say, I don't think they're too dissimilar on other units. Alrighty, we've gotten these two connectors out. I can move aside the panel, but now you also have to check for all sorts of other accessories, people that hardwired in the past, what they've got going to the dash. I just want to make a note about something: landmarking. When you go to take wires apart, you really don't have to know where they go when you're doing them in mass. You do to make it work right when you put it back together. But you see the color codes I have on there, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can just landmark it like that. You don't have to go for colors of wires and am I doing this right? So in landmarking, I say, just give yourself some sort of mark to know where one coupler goes with another. Just a word of caution. Thank you. All right, coming to this point here, as you can see, I've got my dashboard wired out of the way because the hard plumbing was really difficult to get to. There is the windshield wiper motor down here in this corner. Now, the linkage arm over here, the light is on it, and if you take a look, you'll see that in order for that, well, shoot, I guess I'm not coordinated enough to do both of them. All right, almost there, except when I put this, okay, there you are. Up underneath there, you'll see that metal arm. Right up above it, you'll see that is the joint for the windshield wipers. On it is a circlip. And when you see the fitting on the arm, which is just a plain brass ball, you'll understand that there has to be something to hold it on there. Well, it's an E-clip. And there again, let me see if I can get it back into focus. Man, that's a nasty thing to get to. Here, let's do it like that. And I still can't do that. Okay, there's an E-clip on the end of it. So apparently I'm gonna have to take the wiper motor out in order to get to the back side of that. Apparently it shows that there's 2 screws, Allen-headed screws down in the base of it. Of course they filled it up with the sealant that says I was securely put in here. So that's where we are. All right, we're getting down to some extremes here. I had told you earlier that it was Allen-headed bolts that were in the windshield washer motor, and I was completely wrong. On further investigation, you have to tear out, on this particular unit, the black plastic veneer that covers all up under your steering wheel. And if you look back up underneath here, shoot, I can't even see that. Yeah, there's one of the bolts right there. That's the access for getting your windshield wiper motor off, is up underneath there. Mine happens to have a battery disconnect switch, so forego the safety, man. Just don't touch those things. See you, bye. Alrighty, anybody who's done this job before is gonna say, boy howdy, are we having fun. So after you carefully, by the way, when I said prior, I feel like President Trump in the fact that when I said before, forego safety, just go in there and do it. You know, that's like Hillary's emails. It was a joke, okay? Always practice safety. It would be better to take the negative ground off the batteries so you don't have live wires. That's just understood. Kind of like landmarking, but I said it. All right, having said that, there's the windshield wiper motor. Do I feel like I just delivered a baby or a calf? Yeah, I certainly feel like that. There is the washer that we're talking about. Okay, that's the E-clip. Not washer, I said washer. E-clip. We take the E-clip off, see how they have the ridge going out for the arm, put it on the same way, and then we'll go digging for the other one. We should have some more room down there in which to work, if you really want to call it that. And I'm sorry, I can't pick it up too well, but there's pretty good sized cavity down there now. If you had small hands, get the guy with a small set of hands to do this job if he's got incredible strength. So if not, deal with what you have. And okay, we'll go to the next phase. So time has elapsed like a couple hours since our last filming here, and there really isn't much to show for the simple fact that you can't film it, you can't get down and see it, and that's probably why there's never been anything done on YouTube with this. I'm getting ready to assemble everything together, and I just want to write down my comments about the great hole down here. That windshield wiper motor did have to be pulled because the linkage on the back side has to come apart. The circlip, you have to put the arm on, and you do have to put that windshield wiper motor back in. Now I think I did show, but those holes were accessible through this area right here, the pump shift panel area. Okay, I did say, yeah, that's where I made the mistake of saying just forego safety and go to it. Okay, there's 2 bolts down there that pull out that windshield wiper motor. Once you get that out, and you don't really get it out because you hang it over the side, you put that arm linkage back on, and then you go to work on the linkage that was on the wiper arm down there. That brass piece, when you see it, that brass piece that was on that pin was frozen on there. And I will graciously say it, thank God that I got it off of there, but that did take a bit of work to get off of there. As a matter of fact, I can see the pin where the light is back down over there. You can see the back side of that arm. And what I did for the new bushing coming on, because I did have a little bit of difficulty putting that bushing back on. Well, first it wouldn't go on, and then I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and force it on. Well, it wasn't fun taking it off. What I did is I took a 3/8 drill and just more or less cleaned up the inside of that brass. It's not going to create play, but it's enough play in there that it'll rotate around that pin. What happens, I think, what the arm comes off on the arm is that brass will freeze up on the pin, and then it has to rotate around the rubber bushing, which is hard as a rock and ultimately shreds the rubber bushing, and then that's when your linkage comes apart in there. So to avoid that, I created the play in the brass bushing that goes on there. It's a self-centering brass ball, and I created the play in that, put it back on, getting the circlip on. Let me put it this way, you're just going to absolutely enjoy this job. So right now I'm going to reassemble it and come back with closing ideas. Thank you. Alrighty guys, hindsight on this job. Come with a lot of patience and come with time. This is not going to be a 2 or 3 hour job. It's going to take you a piece. Rated on the scale of 1 to 10. If you don't mind pain, then it's going to be a 10. If you don't like pain or nuisance, it's going to be a 12. Secondly, come prepared with some sort of quick set JB weld, because there are mounts on the back of this plastic that are going to break. Not necessarily from neglect, but from time or just maneuvering, and things need to be set back on it again. I have a window up in the right hand side here, which is a notification board, and the sets for that are like 2 stove bolts with flat heads on it, and they just glued to the plastic behind there. Those got broken this time. I'll have to come back and glue those back on. I would come prepared. There's a short arm and there's a long arm in there. The long arm connects the 2 wiper blades together, and the short arm, of course, goes to the motor. What in my case I've seen is the short arm is what usually fails on it. The long arm I haven't had to replace yet, but I see on this one, if I'd have had it, that I probably would have. And I'm gonna have to study how to get there, because that is all one unit that comes across here. That's something I'm gonna have to go back and check. And but anyway, the short piece was installed today. We've got wipers. I don't have to show you because you're not paying the bill. And but trust me, it works. I wouldn't put it back together. And that's it, I guess. I won't go into the tools that you need. There's Torx heads for taking the panels off, Phillips head for taking the screws off. Otherwise, inside there, a 7/16 to get the pump motor off, excuse me, the wiper arm motor off, and just all sorts of picks and stuff to whatever it is to take the E-clips out of there. One thing I would suggest too is to come with air pressure of some sort, a gun, even if it's an electric blower, because over the ages you're going to have electric nips that are down in there, insulation, pieces of insulation, stuff that is just sifted down in there, and while you're in there, it's nice to get that stuff out of there. When you take the lower panel off to gain access to some things, you're gonna have just trash. So anyway, that's it. Hope it's useful to you. Have a good day.